Hello everybody, welcome to the webinar Preventing Mama Burnout. My name is Nicole, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm a classical homeopath and a functional medicine practitioner, but I'm also a mother of two healthy teenagers, and I also have a personal story with regards to recovering from burnout and chronic fatigue syndrome. So I would like to share my insights today in preventing and recovering from burnout with regards to a wellness care perspective. So for me, the best analogy for preventing mama burnout is the analogy of the in-flight safety message that one hears over the intercom when you sit in an aeroplane waiting for takeoff. And the message goes, please secure your own oxygen mask before you attend to the needs of other passengers. So what does that mean? It means a mother should prioritize her core needs before she attends to the needs of her children, her husband, her colleagues, her work, her pets, and all the other dependents in her life. So for many women this might sound really selfish, and it feels selfish because we are conditioned as women from when we little girls and through our role models, and instinctively we are conditioned to be caregivers and we're conditioned to self-sacrifice. So that's why it feels selfish to put your own needs first. But it's critical to make this realization and to act on it. Yes, I'm seeing some messages come through and other ladies have had the same experience. So it really is critical to secure your own oxygen mask in the form of your prioritizing your core needs before those of those around you. So yes, that is the biggest obstacle. But once you know that, then you can take a step forward. So with regards to burnout, what actually is burnout? Burnout is a state of depletion. So it is when your the demands that you have on your body outweigh your body's reserves. So you can think of it as a biochemical gas tank with a fuel gauge. So when your car is running out of petrol, we go and we fill it up. We fill up with gas. But the body sometimes is more tricky to manage. And because the body can keep going even without fuel, we're designed to have a fight, flight or fright reflex. And so the production of stress hormones actually helps us to go even when our biochemical fuel tank is empty. So basically we need to be very mindful of that. And yes, think about burnout as not just a state of depletion, but there are also many other illnesses and diseases that manifest as burnout. And or put it this way, burnout can manifest as other illnesses like depression, fatigue, thyroid problems, hormonal problems, autoimmunity. So yes, burnout has many manifestations. Okay, so burnout is a loss of functionality. It's also a loss of a sense of well-being, and it is in fact the end result of chronic stress. So think of it as another car analogy where you're stuck in a ditch and the wheel is spinning and you're going nowhere. So you're putting a lot of effort in and going nowhere, and that is another analogy as to what burnout is. So who does burnout affect, and who is at greatest risk of burning out? So the mothers that are at greatest risk are the high achieving mothers, the type A personality mothers, the perfectionist mothers. So those are the mothers that are at greatest risk of burning out. All right, so what are one's core needs? Many people think that going on holiday is a good strategy to recharge, but when it comes to burnout, that can be a very superficial solution. So unless your life is a permanent vacation, if you are burnt out, you need to attend to your core needs. So core needs are sleeping, eating, moving, and purpose. With regards to sleeping, we all know that we need 7 to 9 hours uninterrupted sleep at night. But in the real world, a real mother's world, that's not always possible. So for me, what I found was looking at my sleep hygiene, setting the scene for good sleep, basically helped me to recharge even when my nights were disturbed, so that I could fall asleep again if I was woken up and get back into a deep rest state. So sleep hygiene is basically setting the scene. And the way you set the scene for restorative sleep is by creating a dark room. So using blockout and creating a dark room and sleeping in complete darkness. That is the one thing, very important thing, because darkness helps your pineal gland to make melatonin, and melatonin is what induces sleep. So bright lights, blue light from a computer screen or a device is going to switch off melatonin production, and that would be the other piece in sleep hygiene, where you need to not be using devices for an hour before bedtime to minimize the amount of blue light exposure late at night, because these devices have a strong backlight. So having a dark room, minimizing exposure to blue light through screens, and then also not eating too late. Eating after 8 o'clock at night is going to interfere with your sleep-wake cycle. We're not designed to eat late at night, so usually from 8 o'clock onwards, I would say I wouldn't eat or drink anything. If you are concerned about your sleep, amount of deep rest that you're getting. The other piece would be having an ambient temperature in the room, a cool temperature around about 18 degrees, and trying to get pre-midnight hours. So people say, well, you know, I've got to catch up with so much stuff and I only get to sleep after 12. And that's a pity, because your pre-midnight hours basically give you more deep rest than your post-midnight hours. So think about sleep hygiene as a way to optimize the number of hours that you can possibly fit in. And particularly if your kids are young, or if they are disturbing you at night, or in my case, it's my pets, you know, you have to try and find a way to work around that. So that brings me to the next point, which is eating. So we all have to eat, and the piece that really was a game changer for me and my health was eating breakfast. So eating breakfast and choosing a protein-rich breakfast as well is also key. Trying not to start your day with a stimulant like coffee or tea. If you do drink coffee or tea, then make sure you have it with your breakfast or after your breakfast. So in my case, I've developed a ritual where I make a smoothie, because for many years I was a working mom, and mornings were always a peak time, so I never felt hungry, and I would rush out the door without having a proper breakfast after feeding everybody else. So I got into a habit of making a smoothie where, if necessary, it was a liquid meal, and I didn't have to, even if I didn't feel hungry, I would just, it would be easy to consume. So breakfast is a big piece, having protein with every meal and every snack, managing your blood sugar by eating more or less every 3 to 4 hours, or at least not going for long periods with not eating, because that basically would activate your stress hormones so that you can keep going. And living on stress hormones and running on adrenaline is one surefire way to burn out over time. So the piece about eating for me, the key for me was eating breakfast and having the right type of breakfast that was balanced with protein. Then the next piece is moving. So depending on your energy level, you may be able to exercise daily. Some people who are depleted, it really is more about moving than exercising. So what I like to do is to recommend restorative exercise, and by that I mean Pilates, yoga, stretching. You can also do resistance training with your own body weight, and of course you can combine more movement into your daily activity. So for instance, take the bike to the shop instead of the car, or the stairs instead of the lift, carry the shopping bags instead of using the trolley. And if you live in a Dutch home, then I'm sure, like me, you're up and down the stairs a million times a day. So housework and stair climbing in your daily life is gym, is exercise. But the piece here is to listen to your body, and if you can't exercise at high intensity on a regular basis, then rather think about keeping moving. And the last point is about having a purpose. I think that is probably the most important core need of every human being, but in this case, every mother needs to feel a sense of purpose that is bigger than just being a mother. And so I think this is quite a philosophical issue. It's quite a philosophical question that we have to ask ourselves. Who am I? What is my purpose? That takes some time and reflection. But when you are clear about your purpose, you can find your tribe, find your purpose, your personal purpose in your community, and live in alignment with who you are. And so you can imagine the difference, how it feels to be swimming constantly against the current, putting a lot of effort in and getting nowhere. And the difference between that feeling and the feeling of being in flow. So being in flow is about being in alignment with who you are. And so you need to set up the core needs, support your body, and then this is a cherry on the top, which for most of us, where we have the comfort of a safe home, we have food on the table at night, we have warmth and community and family around us, or friends. Those are quite basic needs, important but basic. So it's vital that we look beyond that for true burnout prevention and recovery. I want to inspire you to think about your purpose and think about how you can live in alignment with who you are and feel how it feels to be in flow. So what else was I going to say? Yes, so burnout for me has actually been a great teacher. The lesson is one of living in alignment and of self-care and feeling the sensation of being in flow. So if you feel like you are burning out, or if you recognize yourself in some of these examples, then my advice to you is to not to wait, is to reach out and to get help. Even high achieving moms need help. So don't delay, reach out and get help for yourself. You'll be surprised how many other women out there are feeling exactly the same. So let's support one another. And if you would like more information about burnout, then you can read my latest blog. The link is in the description, the post description, so you can just click on that. And if you have any questions or comments, then please post them below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So on that note, let's go in flow. Thank you for listening. Until next time. Bye.